Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and in this series we're creating a detailed game-ready axe. In this session we'll be baking cavity maps which highlight the extremities and darken the cavities. And that's really useful for stylization and just adding contrast to your images. We'll be going from this to this. If you like what you see here, then check out the description for my website and playlist section of my channel for other free courses. Or you can follow the links to my character course, where you can learn to make a full game-ready detailed character from scratch. Okay, so we've got our beautiful ambient occlusion map just here, and we're going to do a cavity map now. So in order to do that, this is the low poly here. I'll hide that for the moment, and I'll bring back our high poly. Now if I click on the high poly object, we suddenly see the axe high poly material, which has nothing really going on. Now in order to do a cavity map, we need a special node called the pointiness node. I'll bring down my shader editor and zoom in. And I want to bring in the pointiness node. So Shift A to add, and this one comes in under input and then geometry. If you're ever lost, you use the search function here, geometry and geometry node there. Now if I tick that at the front there and hook up my pointiness, not a lot happens. There's two reasons for that. One, the pointiness by itself doesn't do much without a color ramp, and two, in order for this to work, you need to be in cycles. The pointiness node only works in cycles at the moment, so I'll have to come across to my actual render view, and that's going to take a moment, and of course double check that you are in cycles. Now when I move around, mine updates pretty quickly because I've got optics and I've got an RTX 280 Ti graphics card. So if you've got that, you can tick this and it will render out nice and quickly for you. I'll zoom in on my axe, so that's with pointiness. If I press M to mute it, that's without, so it's doing a tiny bit at the moment, as you can see there. And what it's doing is similar to the ambient occlusion. It makes the crevices darker, but it also has the opposite effect on the extremities of the shape. So any extreme angles like the strap round here, it makes it slightly whiter, and it gives it a really nice stylized effect. It's kind of like increasing the contrast, and you can really see the depth in the shape. It's worth pointing out that this will only work as well on high poly objects because it needs all the geometry to calculate the corners and things like that. But we want to increase this effect slightly, so we're going to bring in a color ramp in between. So if I press Shift A and then color ramp is under converter, you'd think it would be under color, but it's under converter and color ramp, and then bring it in between here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this, so it's pointiness to color ramp to base color. I'll zoom right in on this and show you the effects. Now you want to adjust this slightly, and it will depend on your particular axe, but always start off with 0.4 and 0.6 with your white. So that's 0.4 for your black and 0.6 for your white. Roughly is fine. Okay, so hopefully you can see the effects of that. The crevices are very dark now and the extremities are much lighter. Let's zoom in a bit closer. Because one important thing you need to know here, you don't really want to hit complete black because you might lose some color information, and therefore you'll lose the ability to kind of control your cavity mask with another color ramp once you've baked it. So ideally you want to bring this back just a touch. So can you see how this is still grey now, and maybe there's a tiny bit of black just there, but that's okay. So I'm just going underneath 4 there, but I haven't got so many black dots. Let's try a little bit further. So that's 0.37. I've lost most of my black now, but I might have lost a little bit of contrast. So let's bring it back up again and back down. So I think somewhere in between, somewhere around 3.85 in my case. So I still want a nice lot of contrast, but I don't really want any blacks in my image. Let's just zoom out and see how that's looking. Looks really nice, so I think that's going to do fine. Let's zoom back in and just look at the white for now. So the white doesn't seem to be pushing as far, so let's bring the white further up, and we can go all the way to 0.5 before it starts looking a little bit odd. So we need to preserve that contrast in there. I'll bring it down and see how it's looking at 0.7, and that's possibly a bit nicer. I might go up just a little bit to try and make some of these edges pop a bit more, and it's still highlighting these edges, which is good, but if I go too far, then it starts filling in white everywhere else as well. So I'll just bring that down a touch. So if I'm going over 0.6, you can see it's starting to blend in to the rest of the shape. So I definitely want to be over 0.6 because this is still nice and grey. Let's go a little bit further, and I'm thinking around here, so it's about 0.65 for me, and I'll zoom out a bit. So I haven't got any of those deep blacks. That's the most important thing. I've still got a nice lot of contrast, and my whites are still visible on the edges. So it can take a bit of practice this, but I think the most important thing is avoiding the blacks. I'll just have a quick look around my shape and make sure everything's good, and that looks great. Okay, so we're ready for baking. So it's the same process. I'll zoom out of my shader editor so you can see it, and bring my UV editor out a bit more. Okay, so I want to bake this information onto my low poly. Now it might be worth having a think to yourself how you would do that. It's the same way as the ambient occlusion, with one minor difference that I'll show you later. So think about the things you would need. So perhaps pause the video here and have a go at that. Okay, so what you're going to need is a texture on your low poly to bake to. So at the moment I'm on my high poly object, the handle to be precise, and I'm in the high poly texture. And what I forgot to point out is that my axe head, if I click on that, the handle, the lower straps and the top straps, they all share this axe high poly material. So I set it up for one, it set it up for all of them. If any of them have it missing, then it's not going to bake across to your low poly. Okay, so all those objects have that material, and that's what we're going to be baking. I'll hide the high poly and show the low poly now, but I'm not seeing it over here. It's still the axe high poly. That's because I haven't actually selected my axe. So just watch out for these things that might confuse you. So when you select an object, you see the material for that object, axe low poly, there we go. And there's my ambient occlusion already hooked up, and the normals, which is why we've got quite a nice image already. So we're going to need a new texture to bake on. Let's do that now. Create a new texture, and this is called axe cavity, or just cav for short. Double the resolution and turn off the alpha. So there's axe cavity. Now think for yourself, what's the next stage again? Well, in order to bake to this, I need to actually have it in my shader editor. So I'll zoom in a bit, and I'll just copy this one across, Shift D to duplicate. I'll zoom in on that, and I need to change it with the drop down here, axe cavity just there. And the color space for this should be non-color data as well, because it's just black and white. And we don't need to hook it up to anything, we just need to make sure that it's selected and highlighted white like this. Okay, so we're ready to bake to our low poly object. So we can bring back our axe high poly, so I'll make that visible again. It's taking a few seconds because it's high poly and I'm in cycles in the viewport. I'll select the axe head, and you immediately see that my axe high poly texture is visible now because of the active object. Control click the axe handle, lower strap and top strap. So I've got all those, and then my low poly last, axe low poly. When I select that, it goes across to my axe low poly material, and there's the texture I want to bake to. So let's scroll down to the baking panel. Now the one difference is we changed this from ambient occlusion, and there's two ways of doing this. The possibly less confusing way is to use the diffuse texture. So that takes the color information from the principled BSDF. So I would turn off direct and indirect and just leave it on the color information. Now this can sometimes be a bit glitchy, so I wouldn't recommend doing this. What I would recommend instead is going back to your high poly material, and I can do that by just clicking on one of these objects here. So the axe head, for example, coming across to here, and instead of using a principled BSDF, and we'll be baking the base color, therefore the diffuse, instead with the node wrangler installed, I'm going to press Ctrl Shift, left click, and go through a viewer node. And a viewer node is just an emission node set to 1. So if for some reason you haven't got the node wrangler installed, which is under Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, Node Wrangler, Shift A, Shader, Emission Shader, and you can just go through that and make sure the strength is at 1. But the quick way is to press Ctrl Shift, left click, like this. So we're going through an emission node now, so I can bake using an emission instead of diffuse. So I'll quickly go through the process: axe head, handle, lower strap, top strap, and the axe low poly last. We shift across to the axe texture, we make sure the axe cavity is selected, and we use the emission or emit. I find that much less glitchy. Now we've got that in place, we can press bake, and we can see our progress down here. This one can be fairly slow, so I'll speed the process up, and you'll see it baking several times because we've got several different objects. Okay, so we've got our map. If I press Ctrl Spacebar over this screen and zoom in, you can see the results. Now if I go in fairly close, you can see some of those areas which have sort of dotted black bits on them. So it might be beneficial to go a tiny bit lower with the blacks than that. But I don't think it's going to have too much influence, and it looks pretty good. So this is a way of double checking to make sure you haven't gone too far with your black. And it's usually the black that's more important here, because if we want to add a color ramp later to emphasize this, it will pull out the blacks too much. So let's see what that looks like on our axe. I'll hide the high poly now, and I can go back to material preview mode for this, because we don't need cycles anymore because we baked our material. Also, do remember to save this, so image, save as, axe cavity, and save. And now I'll hook this up instead of the ambient occlusion just for a moment so you can see the results. And there we have it. So you can see the difference from this to the ambient occlusion. There's a subtle difference, but there is a difference, and we can combine them together with good effect. I'll just quickly show you as well if I press Shift A to add converter color ramp, and I'm going to add a color ramp in now, how we can then boost this cavity map if we want to. But you can see if I go too far with the black here, the crevices just turn completely black and we lose that information. So what you are doing is losing information, but you can increase the effect. So although this looks a nice effect, our blacks are being destroyed here. So that's why we want to be able to have that control, and we don't want to go too close to black with these areas here. Okay, so in the next session, I'll talk more about how you can hook these up ready for painting. Let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your support as well. Those that watch an advert, I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.